Our next speaker is Mr. Waldenberg.
Hi, my name is Richard Waldenberg. I'm chairman of Learning Resources from Vernon Hills, Illinois. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today on this important topic. I am generally in agreement with what my two colleagues have said already, and I'm going to attempt not to repeat what they say too much, so I'd just like to say up front that I'd like to reiterate what they've said. I do agree that the public database can be an excellent tool to build consumer confidence and to facilitate reasonable access to product incidents. The opportunity to streamline communication, centralize data, and provide easier access to data will be good for businesses and will be good for consumers. So directionally, I'm in favor of the database, but the devil is in the details. When this provision was passed by Congress, there was a very limited, if any, ability for businesses such as ours to provide feedback. This is really the first opportunity for us to provide feedback on how this database was designed. I'm going to try to tailor my remarks around the issues as presented to a small business and the concerns of what a small business, how a small business might regard this database. There are significant risks if data is made overly available or is insufficiently vetted. Ironically, as my colleagues have pointed out, there's an interesting dynamic here that the design of the database seems to invite the disclosure of data with insufficient validation while denying to manufacturers access to the information necessary to do what presumably you want us to do, which is to investigate. We are not provided through the database the name or contact information for the people making the claims, and there's insufficient time to recover the product and analyze it, which are the two essential steps that we go through in our business to investigate any claim, and that's essential. As a consequence, I'm urging the Commission and the CPSC to use the rule crawl, walk, run in implementing this database so as to not burn in problems such as my colleagues have pointed out. There is no question from a small business person's perspective, the database presents the potential of being a litigation breeding ground. I believe that if unfettered access to data is the result of the database, saferproducts.gov will become fewerproducts.gov. Our ability to get insurance, product liability insurance, or to afford that product liability insurance is likely to decline as litigation expenses rise. The risks to the business community are significant. Actually, some of the risks are the same for the business community as for the agency. Of course, from my perspective, I am quite concerned about eroding confidence in consumer products, brands, and the manufacturers themselves. Many of the claims that one gets in the course of doing business are not legitimate. Some represent mischief by competitors or mischief by consumers. Some represent other more complex explanations. If you can think of it, it's happened. By presenting a lot of data, it does invite the involvement of plaintiff lawyers to go look for class actions or to stir up direct lawsuits on creating burgeoning liability. We are concerned about trial by accusation and trial by media. We believe that the media will troll in this database looking for something to sell newspapers with. It's very difficult for a small business to defend themselves against this. We don't have the depth of resources or necessarily the appropriate skill sets or capital base to defend ourselves against these types of assaults. Because the time frame for replying to what may be a large number of incidents, many of which might not be legitimate, is so short, and because essentially the dynamic is that an accusation will be made public within 10 days and we must reply to it in that short period of time, you have sort of the dynamic of an ongoing public interrogatory where every case is potentially a source of liability, and you must publicly answer questions as though it's the beginning of litigation. Everything that is presented in this database and is published, and everything that we put into the database, of course, is discoverable. Even the private database that you intend to establish for the purpose